Hi everybody, John Cena here, and welcome to FunkQuest Season 5, Episode 4. And at last, we have two nice young ladies to be on the show. We've had all men so far. So one of these is going to go through to the next round. Let's find out who they are. Allison, tell us who you are and where you're dialing in from.
I am Allison Miler. I'm dialing in from West Palm Beach, Florida.
And Carmel, tell us who you are, where you're dialing in from.
Hi, I'm Carmel Page, and I'm from Sheffield in the UK.
Hooray! We could talk our own language and nobody can understand what we're talking about.
They'd have no idea.
And we have Grand Champion Funkster from Season 4, Barb Brendline as assistant guest head Funkster to make sure that we're doing all things like we should, because you probably know the rules better than I do. Where are you dialing in from, Barb?
Seattle, Washington, which would be like the opposite of Florida right about now. Distance-wise opposite, morally opposite, sunshine-wise opposite. It's raining. It's pouring rain where I am right here. See her background of sunshine and I think it's real.
The rules of FunkQuest are simple. Each Funkster selects one of 4 icons. Behind each icon is a question which may or may not have anything to do with the icon. The Funkster then has 1 minute to tell a story, tell a joke, or maybe even answer the question. After each Funkster has answered 5 questions, it's up to you to vote on who you think gave the best responses. Stay tuned until the end of the show to learn how to do that.
So, who should we have to go first? Alison's smiling the biggest, I think. Carmel looks a little bit apprehensive, so we'll make Allison go first, I think. You can pick a yo-yo, a racing car, a dinosaur, or some pink blossom.
Definitely a yo-yo.
A yo-yo, good. And what is the most important job you ever had?
Well, the most important job I have ever had, I still have. I am the director of a summer camp, and I'm responsible for 500 kids every summer, keeping them safe, physically, mentally, emotionally. They come into my camp for 7 weeks, and we have a ton of fun. But obviously, being with kids and taking care of them is, super important.
I used to work summer camps, so I have 2 questions. Is there a blob?
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah. Okay. Do you want me to tell everybody what that is?
I do. I want you to describe it, because that to me, that's like quintessential summer camp is the blob.
Yeah, totally. So basically, it's a water toy. We have our own lake. This is behind me. And there is you climb up the inflatable, and somebody sits at the end of the blob, and somebody jumps off the top of the ladder onto the blob, and the person that was sitting there falls right into the lake.
Okay, second question. What is the worst catastrophe that you've had health-wise with a kid over summer camp?
Yeah, I mean, I think, with kids all the time, there's broken bones and, things like that. So I guess, just kids breaking, different bones, but, they're doing it in relationship to the activities they're doing, and they would be doing them at home. So like playing basketball, they might get hurt, or playing hockey, they might get hurt. So things like that are typical. And so that would be, unfortunate, but that's what happens at camp.
See, that's pretty good. Like you haven't lost a kid or something. That seems like good stats.
Excellent. Good start. Carmel hopefully got the idea. Question 1, racing car, a dinosaur, or some pink blossom?
Pink blossom, please.
Pink blossom. Good question for you, this. How fast can you learn something new?
I often learn new stories because I'm a storyteller. So I hear a story and sometimes I go, ooh, I'd like to tell that one. And if it's not too complicated, I can just tell it to somebody else straight away. But if I want it to be really, really good, then I have to think about it, rehearse it, imagine telling it to people, and it takes a lot longer.
How would you rehearse it? Just like rehearse it out loud?
I write notes when I'm rehearsing, but also it's quite common, like when the kids were at home, they'd walk through the room and I'd be there going, and then this great big monster came and attacked, and they just kind of walk through and get a sandwich, and they'd come back and I'd be going, but after that, this, and they were completely blasé about it. Excellent,
good answer. Question 2, Allison. Niagara Falls, a young lady playing the guitar, a speedboat, or a young man riding a bicycle?
Definitely the young lady playing the guitar.
Lady playing the guitar. And this is a good question for you, this. What kind of secret hideout would you build?
Oh my gosh. You know what I would build? I would go into the woods and I would build a really cool lean-to. And so what I would do is take all of the different wood pieces that I could find find a tree that's lying down already that might be dead, and then take the pieces and structure a lean-to on there. And I could hang out and hide out, and pretty much nobody would find me because I'm already in the woods, and then I'm like in the lean-to. So that would be a pretty great place.
Barb, you probably build something in like a skyscraper or something like that, right?
I was just going to say, this sounds really thought out. Like, we're saying it all hypothetical. Like, what kind would you build? She sounds like she's describing one that's in her forest right now. Is that true?
No, I was just thinking where I would go, and I was looking at the picture. I'm thinking, yeah, I'd just be somewhere where I could be in nature. So we do teach the kids how to build shelters. It's really a cool skill, but I'd be building my own.
Okay. Of course, yeah.
Yeah, of course. I was picturing like a blanket fort, something near the snacks. Sort of like in my living room. Anyway.
Carmel, you can pick Niagara Falls, a speedboat, or a young man riding a bicycle.
Oh, Niagara Falls, please.
Niagara Falls. Where would you want your ashes spread?
Oh, on the compost heap. No doubt about it. Get some use out of me. Yeah, put me on the compost heap. Put me around the runner beans, the rhubarb, the apple tree. Yeah, definitely.
Like, I'm just thinking about like your children, like, yeah, we're going to go make pie. I don't know.
I think so. They'd be like, my mother, she's still inside me. She nourishes me. I don't want to stop nourishing my family. It would work. I'm sure it would work.
You'd have to stop. I mean, it's like a one-trick. If you're that, it's a one-trick pony. Once you've eaten mum, that's it. You're gone.
No, because you think about this. Like, you get your potatoes and your carrots and you peel them, don't you? And it goes back on the compost heap. So I think that cycle of life could just go on and on.
I personally think you need to, set up like your own you pick vegetable garden. I think that you would have a real market. You could charge extra if there was come get storytelling potatoes.
Yeah, it's a thing. Absolutely.
Alison, funny enough, a healthy meal, which is probably good for you with kids. Uluru or Ayers Rock, a piñata donkey, or a Swiss Army knife?
I think a piñata. It looks fun.
Piñata. What would you ask an all-knowing crystal ball?
I think I want to know like what the world is going to be like 100 years from now. Not quite past my lifetime, but still relevant to people that I know.
Not kind of 2 years or 6 months or anything like that. Just
I'm really curious about the future, not to get political at all. It's just the future of the world, and like to know what it would be like 100 years from now. And I would feel, I hope, a sense of comfort for, the people in my life that will hopefully live that long past me. It's like all the kids I work with, like, what is it going to be like for them and for their kids?
Well, I guess I was curious, would it change anything about what you did?
I actually think that would be really cool because I like to be forward thinking. So it would give me some insight into like what we could do best to prepare the kids or to bring things into their lives now that could really like support them in the future. So I think that could be really cool to have that knowledge and be able to use that now for, my work. I think that's cool.
We used to have a question about crystal ball. Nobody wanted to go to the future. People always wanted to go to the past, which was curious.
I would want to ask the crystal ball, like, tell me about yourself. How'd that happen? How do you know this? Anyway.
Carmel, question 3, a healthy meal, Uluru or Ayers Rock or a Swiss Army knife?
That penknife, that's my penknife.
What would you invent?
I work on a cancer ward in Sheffield Children's Hospital, reading stories to children with cancer, which is beautiful. It's the most lovely job because they're so desperate for something that kind of transports them out of the hospital. But if I could invent a cure for childhood cancer and not have my favourite job in the hospital, actually, I'd rather do that.
Invent yourself a P45.
Yeah, when you're self-employed, you never get a P45. But
true. Yeah.
If I could close down the cancer ward, that would be brilliant.
Out of business, fired.
I love working there. The children are just, they're in a very closed environment. So having someone come in and tell a story and kind of transport them is a really special thing to do.
That question, like what would you invent? With her answer, you need a 2-part question. Like, you would invent a cure for cancer, but then you also would need to invent your next job. So what would it be?
I think there's lots of other places I could do storytelling, so I wouldn't have a problem. Or I might get around to writing all those books that I've always said I'm going to write, so I'd be okay.
You need to, next time you're on Carmel, I really want to see a suitcase full of books. I want it open out like Del Boy. Allison, a mountain view, some soldiers doing the salute, a butterfly, or a street scene?
A butterfly.
Butterfly. It's a good question for you. When was the last time you went swimming?
That's a great question. A really long time ago. What really cracks me up is we have 2 lakes at camp and a swimming pool, and I don't like to get in them. I did not pass my swim test at camp, and so my job was to stand on the shore and hold the lifeguard stick in case anybody on the beach needed me. So swimming is not high on my list. So I'd probably say about...
How old are your kids? What come onto your camp?
7 to 15.
What is the general ability to swim in that age group these days? As in,
very high.
Is it?
Yeah, very high. Swim. Yeah, kids come with skills. I mean, it's a life skill, and we definitely work to, have them be better swimmers. Definitely looking back at my life, I wish I learned to swim when I was a kid better than I do, because I'm not very good.
So generally speaking, kids aged 7 to 15 in your part of the world they've got a reasonable level of swimming ability. Yeah. I am quite surprised at that. Kids generally. Yeah. Question 4, Carmel, a mountain view, some soldiers, or a street scene?
Street scene, please.
Street scene. Where is the worst place your phone battery died?
My phone battery might be dead now, and I might not know because I don't kind of look at it very often. I tend to go a couple of days without looking at my phone. And actually, if my phone battery dies, I'm just like, oh, I don't have to worry. If anyone's trying to call me, my phone's dead. So it's kind of not a problem.
Isn't it a thing now to do a digital fast? Like to have I'm going to shut off my phone for 24 hours. It seems like Carmel is just ahead of the game. She's like, I'm going to shut it off for about a week and then it won't wake up again. And that seems like...
Yeah, that's fine for me. I mean, I've never even lived in a house that has central heating. So, a mobile phone, that's like, whoa.
It's almost like you've got people that not carrying their phone. They also carry the flipping charger and the wire. Like they're like nomadic, trying to find somewhere to plug the thing in.
I will say, it's probably my favorite thing about technology is that the guilt for not being able to read a map goes down when you can just say, could you get me there? And it goes.
Allison, question 5, a red truck, a giraffe, some stick pins, or a glass house?
I love the giraffe. It looks super
giraffe. Cute. Now you work in a children's camp, so you're going to give us some brilliant answers. What's the oddest thing you saw in public?
I would say I saw some interesting animals in a city once, like random animal, like an aardvark in Miami. And I was like, what is an aardvark doing in Miami? And so, yeah, I think seeing animals like in weird places, I think would be my answer.
Carmel, have you ever been to Greece and Turkey with the little moped people? I mean, they drive around. They don't have a driving license, don't have an helmet. They just drive around carrying plates of dinner on the. I think they've got all the kids on the back. They got the mattress bent in half. I would say that would be the.
Yeah, well, I was thinking the animal thing. We did once on an orchard have a gigantic tortoise go sauntering across our driveway, and it was one of those like the kids were little at the time, and they're like, "There's a dinosaur in the yard." They were very small. And we go out and we're like, "No kidding, though, gigantic tortoise that apparently was living at our neighbors and how do you say it in Sheffield? It had done a bunk, right? And it wandered out. Yeah, right? Okay. And it wandered out into our orchard. And it turns out like that's a huge thing to corral. The thing was hundreds of pounds and had someone gave it to them when it was tiny and it doesn't stay tiny. I don't know if that counts as public. It was.
When you say big, is it how big is it? This big or this big or size of a small car big?
Size of about 4 wheelbarrows stacked.
Really?
Yeah, it was huge. It was a gigantic, like I have a picture. I'll find a picture.
Yeah, send us a picture because you can't just like.
It was a very odd thing, and of course you go around, you knock on your neighbor's door. It's like, any chance that you lost a small dinosaur or a gigantic? And
that's not the sort of thing where you can just like point and just that's going to do what it wants, isn't it? A tortoise that's that big.
Yeah, they had to bring a truck. And then we had to haul it off. It was a very odd experience all around.
Question 5, Carmel, you can pick a truck, a stick pins, or a glass house.
A glass house, please.
Glass house, throwing stones. Good question for you. Who's your favourite author?
Ooh, oh my word, like I have to name one? I have to name
You
one?
got as many as you can name in about 45 seconds.
The favourite book that I read in the hospital is by, I think, Steve Smallman, and it's called Pooh in the Zoo. That is definitely the favourite hospital book, and it actually contains the line "Dodo Doo-doo," which has to be one of the best lines in the whole of English literature.
What age kids is that aimed at?
Oh, that's like 3, 4, 5-year-olds. Yeah, with the older ones, the best book is called Does It Fart? So there's a book full of animals, and it's, you know, like the teenagers can be quite hard to engage. I say to them, tell me your favourite animal and whether or not you think it farts, and then I'll look in the book and tell you whether or not it farts. That's always fun.
Is the answer ever no?
Yes, surprisingly, there are some animals that don't fart. There are so many different digestive systems.
I have so many questions about this. Why does someone know this? It's kind of like my daughter comes to me a few weeks ago and she says, there's been a study. Did you know that cats can't taste sugar? And I think, how do you know that? How did what you asked the cat? The cat said, that's weird. It tastes just like lettuce to me. I don't understand how a scientist either got close enough to that many animals to conclude this, or that, like, how do you know?
You send an email to a cat. Do you have 5 minutes to fill us a survey in?
Exactly.
You could answer. You could win a £25 Amazon voucher.
Yeah. What do you think coffee tastes like? Exactly.
Yeah. What does your coffee taste like? Yeah. So what? Steve Smallman, and what was the other one?
It's 2 authors who are scientists. So it started off as a Twitter thing,
Yeah.
and then it was probably one of those things that started like in a completely random way, and then people started asking about more and more animals, and it ended up being a book.
So many questions.
FunkQuest.
To send one of these Funksters to the next round, follow the link in the description to the episode page on FunkyThinkers.com and comment who you want to win. You can play FunkQuest yourself after you leave your vote. Do not vote on Spreaker or YouTube or iHeartRadio or any other platforms you might be listening on, because these votes will not be counted.
So, Alison, how can we find out more about you and contact you and send all our kids to go away with you for 6 weeks?
Well, you can check us out on happycamperlive.com. It is actually a platform that I created where every kid in the world can go to summer camp. It is a virtual, online, on-demand summer camp for kids all over the world. And so again, happycamperlive.com, and you can learn more about us. You can check out more about me. But my dream was to bring summer camp to every kid that couldn't go to camp. And that's why I created my platform.
You bring summer camp to Carmel's kids in Children's Hospital. How can we do that?
Absolutely. Yeah. Actually, I would love to talk to you, and we can talk about ways to give them special codes to give them access. That'd be great. It was
brilliant. Yeah, I can do that. Carmel, how can we find out more about you?
I don't have a web page, but you can look me up on Facebook, or if you want to go to a bookshop, you can look for Yorkshire Folk Tales for Children in any good bookshop.
Ladies, thank you so much for being on the show. One of you is going through to the next round. We'll find out who when the voting opens and closes. Thanks so much, and we'll speak soon.